And good afternoon, producer Susan. Has spring finally made it to Pennsylvania?
It is a gorgeous day here today.
Have you
I
had to
wish it
cut
could stay like this all summer.
have you had to cut your grass yet?
I didn't have to, but I did an adult thing and I bought a new lawnmower and I tested it out.
Battery operated lawnmower?
No, you know how I feel about battery operated lawnmowers. I'd need four of them to mow my lawn.
All right.
But
Yeah,
I did have to special order it because it was gasoline powered.
they don't carry gasoline ones in the store.
Nope, not around here.
Oh my goodness. All right, you want to hear what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, what's on the agenda?
All right, well, first of all, today's the 16th of April. It's the situation with Jersey Joe. It's news and perspective you won't hear on TV. Our quote of the week is from the late Lou Holtz, who was a football coach. Have you ever heard of Lou Holtz?
I have.
And it was words from Lou Holtz on what determines whether or not you'll be successful in life. In our stupidest thing I've heard all week segment, we actually once again we have multiple contenders. I actually had to cut this down. We had so many, I cut it down to just two, but I could have done four. One, we have a US Congresswoman who claims that the moon is made mostly of gas and that moonlight can power solar panels. And we have another one is a woman who gave more than $1,000 in tips to the employees of a local Taco Bell. And now she wants that tip money back, and we'll tell you why. Incredibly stupid. We'll tell you where the most expensive McDonald's in America is located and how much a Big Mac combination meal will cost you at that location. And producer Susan, I think you might have eaten there once, if I'm not mistaken. We'll figure that out when we get to that segment. Remember last week we talked about porch pirates as one of the fastest growing industries in the United States?
Yeah.
Well, there's another criminal in fast growing industry, something called burglary tourism, where people are coming here in tourist visas for the sole purpose of committing high-end burglaries. We'll tell you how they're doing it and where that's taking place. We'll ask why the police and the news media are regularly omitting a key piece of information about wanted suspects when asking the public for help. We're searching for so and so. If you see this person, please call. You've seen those things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to point out something that is frequently, if not always, omitted from those descriptions, and we'll ask why. We're going to talk about something called the Cass report. There's a doctor called Hilary Cass in the United Kingdom, and she was commissioned to do a study on gender dysphoria, transgenderism, and how the medical community is treating gender dysphoria. And she came out with some shocking analyses of the failures of the medical system in treating gender dysphoria, and we're going to share that with you. And then we're going to follow that up. There was a TV exchange where they had people coming on. They had invited guests coming on to talk about the Cass report, and one of the people that was invited to come on the show was a transgender woman in the exchange, and she starts off her segment by announcing to the host what her preferred pronouns are. And what goes on between the host and this person, I find hilarious. Anyway, and last but not least, our taxpayer relief shot comes to us from Houston, where a scheme by an illegal alien to obtain a fraudulent U.S. visa went horribly wrong. So I had to shorten this up because I got so many clips that I want to play. So hope I can fit them all in. Anyway, let's go to Lou Holtz, the late Lou Holtz, famous football coach, primarily college. And here's what he said about your success in life. He said, your talent determines what you can do. Your motivation determines how much of it you are willing to do. And your attitude determines how well you do it. Can you relate to that?
Yep.
I know a lot of very talented people who are incredibly lazy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then I know talented people who do things because they're forced to do it because by their boss or whatever of the situation, but they do a lousy job of it because they don't want to do it. I mean, they could do it, but they don't want to do it, and they're being told you have to do it, and they do it with a crappy attitude. So again, Lou Holtz, you're talented.
And I think though, where I know him from is CBS Sports as a commentator, which is a career that many college or professional coaches end up at when they're done coaching.
Yep.
I don't think he died. I think he's still alive.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies. And I thought I hadn't seen Lou Holtz in 5 years. I thought he passed
I
away.
haven't seen him in a while, but I think he's still alive.
Okay. Well, my apologies. And anyway, so again, one more time, and my apologies to Lou Holtz. And again, he said, your talent determines what you can do. Your
Mhm.
motivation determines how much of it you're willing to do, and your attitude determines how well you do it.
Yep.
And I have to agree 100%. How about you?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's talk about the two stupidest things I've heard all week. Um, First one's going to come from Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. But before I move on to her, did you ever hear Congressman Hank Johnson? This goes back about 10 years. We're doing a congressional hearing. He seriously asked an admiral. He was concerned that if we put too many men and equipment on the island of Guam, that the island might tip over. Have you ever heard that?
He didn't really say that.
Yes. Tell me you never heard that.
No, but that he couldn't be for real, right?
No, it was absolutely for real. Now you're going to make me play that. You're going to make me play that. In fact, while I'm talking, I want you to find, because I'm going to have you play it on your end. Do you have the ability to play something on your end?
Yep. Yep.
I want you to Google Hank Johnson Guam tipping over, and I want you to find the clip. So mute your microphone while you look for that, and I want you to tee that up. But here is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, by the way, who is a Harvard University grad. This woman is from Harvard, and she's a US Congressman, and she's claiming that the moon is made of gas and that moonlight can power solar panels. So here is Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. And apparently she majored in astronomy. So here we go.
To provide unique light and energy so that you have.
By the way, you heard her say light and energy, right? Moonlight providing energy. So,
Yep.
Here, I'm going to start this over.
Unique light and energy so that you have the energy of the moon at night. And sometimes you've heard the word full moon. And sometimes you need to take the opportunity just to come out and see a full moon is that complete rounded circle, which is made up mostly of gases.
Made up mostly of gases. Now, did you learn that in high school about the moon being made of gas?
No, I did. I learned that the moon was made of rock.
You know, I'm wondering, we must have staged that moon landing, because when those guys, stepped off the ladder, that gas looked pretty solid to me. And in fact, weren't they leaving footprints in that gas?
Yeah, they were leaving footprints. Yeah, it was a giant rock, a dusty old rock.
Well, anyway, this is a US Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, and she's a graduate of Harvard, which kind of lowers my opinion of people who are Harvard graduates. And again, one more time, here we go. US Congressman.
Unique light and energy so that you have the energy of the moon at night. And sometimes you've heard the word full moon. And sometimes you need to take the opportunity just to come out and see a full moon is that complete rounded circle, which is made up mostly of gases. And
by the way, she's giving this talk to a high school in Texas. I'm a little concerned at how many of the high school students in that audience are going to believe this woman. What do you think?
Oh, I would be afraid, yeah, because this woman is of authority. She's an authority figure.
My goodness. Anyway, so that's our first nominee. Now here's our second nominee. By the way, have you found Hank Johnson yet?
I do believe I have. I have a clip with Anderson Cooper here on CNN.
All right, we'll bring him on after I finish the second one. So here's the second one. Now, are you familiar in the Bible have you heard of the rapture?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us what the rapture is in the Bible.
That one day, these celestial beings are going to come and take us all,
Well, it's the second coming of Christ. And then all the true believers and faithful people, both living and dead, will be risen up and taken to heaven.
Yep.
When Christ comes for the second time. It's called the rapture. And the truly faithful believe that when Christ comes to earth for the second time, if you are pious and a believer, that you and the souls of all the deceased will be transported up to heaven. Well, anyway, so this woman last week or the week before, she was convinced that the rapture would occur on the day of the eclipse, which was a week ago Monday. So she thought she was going to give away all her money. So she would go to this Taco Bell. So she went to Taco Bell twice in the previous week. And one time she had like a $15 meal. She added a $300 tip. And then she went a few days later and had another $15 lunch and added a $700 tip. So she had tipped the employees over $1,000 in tips in 2 visits to Taco Bell. And then when the rapture didn't happen on the day of the eclipse, she went back to the manager of the Taco Bell and she wants her $1,000 back. What do you think?
Yeah, you give somebody a gift and you want it back.
So those are the first two. But if you have
I
Congressman
think just for her pure stupidity, she should not have it back.
All right. So now those are my two. Do you have Congressman Hank Johnson?
I do. Let's see. So I found this clip. It's from CNN on an Anderson Cooper show. He is just saying that, clarifying the size of Guam. Guam is not a very large island. It's 12 miles
But do you have an audio? Do you have an audio?
Yeah. So I'm just catching up where we are here.
Okay.
About 24.
Oop, I just lost it. Wait, where'd it go? Oh no, stop. I think I just hit something. Now I got an ad for Rural King. They are not a sponsor of our show.
Oh my goodness. Maybe I could
Come
find
on.
it.
Let's go away. Oop.
This is great radio.
Is this it? Yeah, here it is.
Okay, play it.
I think I may have lost it.
All right, hang on. I'll find it. I've got.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, you got it?
Play. I feel like we've been having technical difficulties all day here.
I'm gonna have to play this here for you.
Here we go. Okay, I got it.
I got Hank Johnson. Here we go. Oh, I've got it.
Okay, why do I not have any volume now?
Here we go.
I don't know why I lost my volume now.
Here we go.
This is
I lost my volume.
Here we go.
On my YouTube.
At its widest level is what?
Oh, there we go.
From shore to shore, and at its smallest level.
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island and about 24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
All right, you can stop it. You can stop it there.
I just this is an admiral in the Navy, right?
And the admiral, to his credit, tries not to bust out laughing and tries to be respectful. And he says, "Well, we'll look into that, Congressman." But how? So there's our third contender. So you've got Congressman Sheila Jackson Lee thinking that the high school kids, the moon is made of gas and moonlight can power solar panels. You got the woman who thought she was going to be taken by the rapture and gave away $1,000 in tips. And you got Hank Johnson, who was afraid that Guam was going to tip over if we put too many men and equipment.
Man, so, this is a tough one. This is a tough.
So what's your pick? We'll ask the listeners for their, but what's your pick?
Oh, man, this is a tough one. I really don't know. It's a serious three-way tie.
It's a three-way. All right, first ever. We'll see what the listeners think. All right, so we got a three-way tie. Moon is made of gas. Woman gives away $1,000 in tips because she thought she was going to be taken by the rapture. And Hank Johnson is afraid that the Guam is going to tip over and capsize. All right. So do you know where the most expensive McDonald's in the United States is?
Well, see, last summer I took a road trip through Connecticut and I stopped at a service area and oh my God, it was like $15 for a hamburger.
And you're exactly right. It's the Darien, Connecticut rest stop on Interstate I-95, where a Big Mac meal will cost you $17.59, make it the most expensive McDonald's in America. Now,
Yeah.
part but
I
not
like my
all,
dollar menu. They didn't have a dollar menu.
no. Oh, wait. Part but not all of that cost, by the way, is attributable to the rent that franchisees must pay to the state of Connecticut for the space they occupy. And if you've been to those rest areas, they're in the center median, and it's a building that's owned by the state, and they lease out space. When you go in there, there's like a Subway and a McDonald's, and
Yeah.
maybe something else, maybe a Starbucks. So, in all fairness to the franchisee, not all of that is going in the franchisee's pocket, but still, when you have a captive audience, he's not charging rock bottom prices. But can you
Yeah.
imagine $17.59 for a Big Mac, fries, and a small drink?
Yeah, that it was very, I was blown away of the prices at a McDonald's, even, being like you said, convenience state, a location of convenience
Right.
where they have a captive audience, but it was outrageous.
Outrageous is right. So anyway, so if you're going to travel on I-95 up in the Northeast through Connecticut, bring a cooler, bring your own drinks, or bring a sandwich. Stop at a Subway or something and grab a sandwich to go before you get on the highway, because it's just. Can you imagine feeding, if you're a family with 2 kids, can you imagine $20 a head? That's
Yeah.
$80 for lunch with
Yeah,
a
just for a quick grab and go, because you need
Yeah.
to have something in your belly to get to where
Yeah.
you're going.
Don't buy food on the Interstate 95 in Connecticut. All right. So last week we talked about porch pirates.
Yeah.
New thing. This was an NBC News. I actually could have played this, but it would have been too long. There are gangs in South America that are able to get tourist visas. In the United States, you can get a tourist visa and come to the United States for up to 90 days on a tourist visa. Well, apparently there are gangs in South America, and a lot of coming out of Chile, where they apply for, as a group, they apply for tourist visas, and they fly into affluent areas like Los Angeles, where you've got Bel Air and you've got Beverly Hills.
Mhm.
And what they do is they stake out these really high-end multi-million-dollar homes, and they stake them out for a couple of days. They see who comes, who goes, when the houses are vacant, and they stage very organized thefts. They come in, they do have Wi-Fi, things that I forget what the name of it is, a blocker where they can block the Wi-Fi. So you
Oh yeah, jammers.
Jammers. They have Wi-Fi jammers, so the homeowner can't see them on their Ring. If you have a Ring and you're at your office, you can see on your phone normally.
Yeah.
But if they're jamming your Wi-Fi, you can't see it. So very, very sophisticated. So they'll come, and after staking out a bunch of homes, they'll pull off 8, 9, 10, 12 robberies in a couple of weeks. They'll steal jewelry, paintings, Rolex watches. They'll hawk this stuff at pawn shops in the local area, and then get back on a plane with their cash and head back home. And they'll do this. They'll do this every month. They'll come to Los Angeles one day. They'll go to Dallas, Fort Worth. They'll go to New York City another month. And this is an actual industry. And it's not just one group. It's several groups. And it's called burglary tourism.
Mhm. So even if they can identify these people, the chances are they're probably not going to get them because they've already fled the country.
They've already fled the country. Yeah. So, I mean, they're gone. By the time they figure out who they are, well, and by the way, they wear masks. If you look at some of the camera feeds they have, they're wearing masks. These people are not stupid, so they're not coming in with their faces exposed. They're wearing gloves.
Mhm.
So it's very, very tough to even catch them. The way they know about this, they have been able to catch 1 or 2 groups, and that's how they figured it out. But there's a lot of these groups doing this, and the chances of getting caught are slim. Anyway, so that's what's happening there. Now, you want to move on to what is missing when the police and news media ask for the public's help?
Yeah, what's missing?
Well, here's an example. Last week, in the same 24-hour period, there were 2 shooting incidents in which multiple shooters wounded or killed multiple victims in a public setting. One was in a park in Philadelphia, and the other was the next day in Washington, D.C. And I've got the clips here, and I don't want to play the videos. And in the Philadelphia case, although the police arrested 5 people, no description of those people who were arrested was provided or reported. The police didn't. There was a press conference. Police didn't mention who they were, and the reporters didn't ask, nor did they report, whether they were Asian gang members, whether they were, And in the Washington D.C. incident, two male suspects came in the car. They got out of the car, fled the scene in a blue Toyota. They had, eyewitness reports of the shooters. Of the car. They had video surveillance of the guys fleeing. You could see through the windshield. You could see the guys, and the police were asking for the public's help in locating these 2 thugs, these 2 shooters in a blue Toyota. Now, don't you think if you're asking for the public's help, it would be helpful if you say where they were 2 white guys, 2 Asian guys, 2 Hispanic guys, 2 Middle Eastern guys, 2 black guys? Don't you think that'd be a valuable piece of information?
Absolutely.
So why do you think the police are not including that? And why do you think the media is not reporting the nationality of these people that are either being arrested or being sought by the police?
Do they think that is racist?
Well, I guarantee you this: had the shooters been white males wearing red MAGA baseball caps, don't you think that would have been front page national?
Oh yeah, they definitely would have.
Okay, so why, if it's a white male wearing a MAGA baseball hat, is it national freaking news? And when it's 2 black males, the race of the shooters is omitted from the police report and the news reports. Can you tell me why?
They probably feel that it's racist.
Well, I just think it's sad that we have come to the point in our society where it is considered racist to mention, oh, by the way, the people we're looking for are African American. Because I don't think they would withhold that if they were white, Hispanic, or Asian. Do you? Or Middle Eastern?
It is valuable information when you're looking for somebody to know, like, am I looking for, a light person, dark person,
Yep. Tall, short, fat, old, beard, mustache. They give all that other information, but not the race or nationality that people are looking for. So I just shake my head, and you draw your own conclusions, but I'm just shaking my head. All right. Let's talk about the Cass report, CASS, and this will be in my notes. Anyway, Dr. Hillary Cass was retained by the National Health Service, which is, England. They have socialized medicine in England. And she did this 1.5-year study on the treatment of children with gender dysphoria and the use of puberty blockers. And her conclusion is not only were the puberty blockers not helping, it appears that significant harm is being done. And she's urging the ending of the practice. And here was the stunning thing. Her report found that between 50 and 75% of those children under the age of 18 who had been receiving puberty blocker treatment reported attempting suicide after beginning that puberty blocker treatment. So I can understand, okay, you're confused, gender dysphoria, and you're contemplating suicide. But these suicide attempts by the majority of the people, the majority of the children, occurred after they had started their puberty blocking treatment. And she goes on and on about the other medical, with bone and organ development. So she's just, and this is really shaking, particularly, those people who think, oh no, every time a kid says, well, I think I'm a girl, or I think I want to wear a dress, first thing they want to do is put them on puberty blockers. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's,
I think that they're, from a mainstream point, they have only been doing this medically in the field for not that long, maybe a decade.
Right.
I don't know the exact time frame, but not that long. And that's not allowing us enough
time.
Historical medical data to make those change, to make those discoveries that, is this affecting your growth or your development
and your mental health and everything else?
Yeah.
I've got a link to the Cass report. That's called the Cass Independent Review, again, commissioned by the National Health Service in UK. And it's really stunning. And producer Susan, if you can put the link up on the website, and again, or you can Google it, it's Cass, CASS, Cass Independent Review, just Google the Cass Report UK.
And
Now,
I don't like to make comparisons from dogs to humans, but for those of you who have listened to the show for a while, you know I'm well in with breeding of dogs, and we specifically do not spay or neuter our dogs before 1 year of age. We allow our females to go through at least one heat cycle, which is normally around 12 months old for this particular breed.
right.
And the same thing with the males, we allow them to fully develop until they're a year old before making that decision to neuter or spay them
Right.
for their physical well-being.
Yes, and in this case, and she came to the same conclusion, it hurts them physically, and it certainly appears it hurts them mentally. It
Mhm.
certainly isn't helping if 50 to 75% of the children on the puberty blocker therapy are still trying to commit suicide. You can't say that's being helpful. All right.
Yeah.
So since this was big news in the UK, it was on all the talk shows, and here's a very respected journalist named of Julia Hartley Brewer, and they were having a special. She was a commentator, and they had several invited guests, and one of their invited guests was a transgender woman. And listen how she starts off. The very first words out of her mouth are, she tells the host how she wants to be addressed, and here's how that goes.
A journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank
You
you.
know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Did you hear that? Hang on. She did that. She did that very, very good. Good afternoon. My pronouns are they, them. Did you hear her say that?
Yes, immediately.
So I'm going to start this over so you miss it. Here we go.
My next guest, who is Shivani Dave. She is a journalist and a presenter at Virgin Radio, just down the corridor. Good afternoon to you, Shivani.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank
You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar, so the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you. But I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me to use incorrect grammar and factually incorrect things. You're not a plural. You're a one person.
You're not a plural. You're one person. Here we go.
And you're a female person, so I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
Do what you like, I guess.
Well, there you are. You didn't need to tell me then, did you?
Maybe I'm just making sure people know in case they're watching and they want to refer to me respectfully.
Is it disrespectful for me to use correct factual grammar?
It's not incorrect or unfactual grammar to use singular they, them pronouns for an individual. But we're here to talk about the cast review.
Yeah, but you chose to bring it up.
The genesis.
So what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, people like, we're recording this, segment, and many people that I work with, they all put their pronouns in their, next to our names here, and that's great, if especially I think if you are in a population that is, a transitioning population or a non-binary population, and you want to express like, okay, these are my pronouns, I respect that. But if you are clearly identified, and it's my understanding this woman was transgender, correct? So if
she's clearly a woman, but she's got basically a shaved head. She's got like a,
if it was maybe unclear that maybe, okay, I identify as a woman, but given my appearance, it may not be obvious I'm a woman.
No, trust me. You look at it's clearly she's a woman with a shaved head. Oh, I'll play just a little bit more. Here you go.
Correct pronouns for me.
I chose to use the correct pronouns for a single woman who is appearing on my show.
I'm not a single woman though. I'm a very special non-binary trans person, as you just pointed out. I
didn't
really
just point
stand
that
out
out.
from the crowd.
I didn't just point that out. I introduced you as a journalist and a Virgin Radio presenter.
No, just before I came on, you were talking about how people with all these labels like to be special. And I'm just making sure that everyone knows I'm special.
Okay, I'm not special. I'm just a boring old heterosexual married woman. But, sorry about that. We're not
Anyway, I've got if you want to hear the whole thing, it's hilarious. We don't have
I'll
time.
post the link. Yeah.
It is hilarious though. All right. So let me preface this. I'm going to play this from people. We're on for our taxpayer relief shots, and why do we call them taxpayer relief shots? Here we go. Here's why we call them taxpayer relief shots.
If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. Hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
And again, the reason that sheriff says that is because when you send a if you arrest a thug and after the trial and 10 years in jail, it's $1 million to try a thug and to send him to jail for $10 for 10 years. So anyway, so Houston, I wasn't aware of this, but apparently, and I did check this out, in the U.S. immigration law, if you're here on any type of, whether you're here illegally or whatever, you're seeking asylum, if you are the victim of violent crime, you can be issued a special visa called a U visa, which is only given to victims of violent crimes. Well, these two guys in Houston, they actually decided to make a business out of this. They spread the word within the illegal alien community that, hey, for $1,000, we will stage a fake robbery, and we'll do it in a place where there's surveillance cameras, like a gas station, where, you know, after we leave, you can call the police and you can say I was robbed at gunpoint, and there'll be a video record on the gas station surveillance camera. And they were making a lot of money staging these fake robberies. So here's what happened with this fake robbery. And by the way, Texas, you think a lot of people carry guns in Texas? Real guns?
Yeah.
How many taxpayer relief shots have we had from Texas?
I feel like 50% of the population in Texas probably carries.
So listen what happens to this fake robbery. Here we go.
Man is charged with murder in what police are calling a scheme to obtain visas. Investigators say 3 men staged a robbery, but one of those suspects was shot and killed. This happened outside a gas station in North Houston. Troy Kless has spent the day digging through court documents. Troy, how was this alleged scheme supposed to work, and how did one of the suspects end up dead?
Well, police say victims of these staged robberies could use their status as a crime victim to apply for a special visa to stay in the US, and the fake robbers would get paid for their part. But a bystander who had nothing to do with the scheme shot and killed the fake robber. So this happened at a gas station on Ella Boulevard when a 22-year-old man was shot and killed. Now, surveillance video shows what looks like a robbery that happened in January, and police say 22-year-old Rashad Scott robbed a victim at a gas pump, then ran away when a bystander shot and killed Scott. According to court documents, Scott's wife told police that she heard this wasn't supposed to happen, but she told police about the alleged scheme. Now, court documents say Scott and his friend William Winfrey had been committing these fake robberies for over a year. When Winfrey was arrested, he told police that he would pay Scott for his involvement. Now, according to a charging document, the apparent victims of aggravated robberies could apply for what's called a U visa. And we spoke with an immigration attorney, Gordon Kwan, who says fraud like this has actually occurred in the past.
Various police departments won't take these complaints, but they want to make sure that it's legitimate as well. But I have heard of stories, just as you have reported, that some people have been unscrupulous and have kind of fabricated these robberies.
Court documents show that Winfrey gave Scott an airsoft gun to use in the staged robbery, and police say the man who shot Scott drove away from the scene, but later turned himself in. And according to Houston police, they say that the suspected shooter was questioned, but later released. And the investigation into the shooting is still ongoing at this time. And Winfrey will appear in court later this month. Mia?
All right. So here's the question. So the dead guy's partner is being charged with murder, but he didn't kill anybody. So why is he being charged with murder?
Because you're an accomplice in a felony.
Right. And right. Anytime there's a death that occurs during the commission of a felony, even though you aren't the one that pulled the trigger, you can be charged with murder.
That would be the same as if you're a getaway driver in a robbery, right, and the guy who actually goes in the store and shoots somebody, you are also convicted.
Yeah. If you're driving to get it, you're sitting in the car with the engine running, and your buddy goes in and shoots and kills the clerk. Mm-hmm. You can be charged with murder because a murder occurred during the commission of a felony of which you were an active participant. So, but how's that for, and I wasn't even aware that this thing was a real ongoing thing.
You know, it amazes me that criminals, regardless of whatever, they put so much energy and effort into these breaking the law. They could have just done it legitimately.
Well, I don't know what, it's, I don't know how easy it is or tough it is to get a visa. Typically you can only get like a student visa or a tourist visa, but this person wanted a permanent, like a resident visa. Mm-hmm. and I guess this is the quickest way to do it. And so these guys literally made a business out of it. Anyway, or I guess we're running close to running out of time,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yeah, yes.
All right. So anyway, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, enjoy this beautiful weather. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be rainy for the rest of the week.
I'm afraid you're right. Anyway, I want to thank those for listening, for giving up 30 minutes of your time. If you have any comments, you want to vote on the stupidest thing you've heard all week, you can send me an email to joe@jerzzeejoe.com. Just remember to spell Jersey J-E-R as in Robert, Z as in zebra, E-E, Jerzee. And if you want to see any of the links, like to the cash report or any of these other clips that we didn't have time to play, just go to the Jerzee Joe website at jerzzeejoe.com.
Yeah.
And with that, unless you have something else to add, producer.
No, I'll get those links up on the website.
All right. Thank you very much. And we'll talk to you next week. Take care.
All
Bye.
right.